Hello there, y'all. I'm Rain, and this is Fennec Fables, where we delve into fun things about tabletop role-playing games, including prompts, ideas, stories, and even systems, which is exactly what we'll be talking about today. Told y'all I'd be getting back to them soon. This is actually a system I'm quite excited about, as I've gotten to help them with polishing the rules, working with one of the system designers over several days. Not to toot my own horn, but I think I did some great work, and they really seem to like my suggestions. Before I forget, I want to be clear that this is not a paid promotion, and while I did receive an initial copy for free, I did go back and purchase the revamped version on sale through their DriveThruRPG account after I assisted with it. Gotta keep myself honest for my fans and followers after all. Hellborn is a TTRPG that is designed by the folks over at Studio Hex, a small indie group who built a game from the ground up for those folks looking to experience play as some sinners in their own group, pulling off jobs and making their way in a tough and unforgiving world, being their own form of criminal gang. To pull a direct quote from the creator on the origins and creation of the game, they said, "The origin story for this game is actually quite funny. A few years back, during the height of COVID pandemic, I joined a Discord server about hell-related media, primarily Doom, Hell of a Boss, and Has-Been. The owner of this place was a friend of mine called Edward, and one day he came up with the fine idea of working on a grand MMO set in hell. Think GTA 5 and Cyberpunk mixed with Doom. He got me and like 10 other teens, and we began throwing shit at the wall. However, we came upon a small roadblock. None of us knew anything about game design, modeling, nothing. Thus, this project died as soon as it was born. Yet, I didn't want this fun scenario and setting we've been making to go to waste. And so, I proposed to Ed we turn this game idea into a TTRPG. The rest is history. Now it's only me, Ed, and our two newest members / interns, Victoria and Matt. Thank you so much for the quote, Fern. It's got some options available out right now if you're looking to snag it, but they have a big Kickstarter coming out in April. I'll be getting more into that at the end of the video, but there will be links to all the relevant social medias and storefronts down below. And while you're down there, if you don't mind, maybe hit that subscribe button if you're so inclined. It really helps me out a ton. But back to the game itself. Hellborn is a game devised to have a deep but accessible internal lore of your group operating in a hell that has been advancing right along with humanity. This has led to there being expansive cities of glass and concrete, as well as the vices that populate them modernizing with the times. This technological advancement, in turn, with their own unique magic called Malefica, has led to the dangers that are all too unique to this world. The citizens that populate hell span the gamut of natural-born devils of various types, be it the all-too-familiar concubi and fallen angels, to some of the other standouts like mortal sinners who've become warped by their surroundings, and even those created in homage to the forms of great leviathans, with far more gracing the pages of the system. Each of the many options have their own lore to them, such as their origins, including the original ring they came from, naming conventions, and what I'm sure you're all keen to hear about being their own unique powers and abilities. Each origin has a unique trait that they can access, but such as the concubi being able to push their own emotions onto someone they have physical contact with, as well as specific Malefica, which they are uniquely attuned to. This makes it so that it's easier for them to learn things from that category than any others. Each Malefica is based on its own unique concept, so it really ties into their histories and makes it so each one feels special before you even get into what their rules or paths are. Before I get too far into what makes this game utterly unique, I think it's best to discuss how the system works and functions, that way we're all on the same page and have a basic sense of it. Hellborn is a D6 based dice system using 3d6 as its core dice pool, having you also have a separate pool of dice from either gaining advantage or disadvantage that you can use to cancel each other one out at a rate of 1 to 1. Whatever you are left with, you roll and take the highest from that pool and add it or subtract it from your primary 3d6, depending on whether it was advantage or disadvantage. I personally quite like this, as it means that if you get several instances of advantage, you can still overcome rough situations, but you can also pull the reverse on foes. Even if they have a boon, you can still undercut them with some planning. The added extra twist is that the 6s or 1s from these can be part of achieving what is called the game's satanic success or fiendish failure, which is what you get when 3 6s or 3 1s from your results appear. Both of these offer some truly fun options in the game, be it skill checks or combat, and are quite the blast and add a little bit of a devilish flair to it. All checks derive from the simple method, which means that we can progress to the fun part of making your own little devil. I'll be a bit broad with this as the game isn't quite out yet, and I'm hoping this will whet your appetite and make you go and back their venture. One of the most unique parts of this system is that each PC will have a positive and a negative attribute to them chosen from among a list based on tarot cards, the upright allowing for a stat boost as well as a helpful additional ability, while the reverse will lower a stat and have some drawback that the Game Master may use to help stir up some trouble as you play. Each of these tarots also give you a keyword that you can use to help base the personality of your new character on. All PCs will have a series of stats that decide things such as their defenses, magic reduction, movement, their darkness pool, which is used when using your Maleficas, as well as how much trauma or damage you can sustain. These stats are flesh, which is one's physical prowess, skin, which is tied to your agility and dexterity, heart, which is one's charisma and ability to communicate, mind, which is one's wits, and soul, which is the ability to manipulate magic and your own spirit. These can range from 1 to 6, though only one stat can be at 6 from the start, and the others will have to be raised through spending other experience points or from temporary boosts, which can happen from various power-ups. After you've discovered your tarot and allotted your stats as well as set up your derived stats, you'll then decide what role you want to take in your crew, ranging from the Fiendish Healer, the Abater, the Deadly Blade, the Dastardly Gunslinger, or even the Stalwart Sentinel, which is a recent addition and is top of my list of roles I'd like to try out, among the many that are in this list that I haven't even mentioned. One of the other neat things about Hellborn is that when you're making a PC, you're picking options from tiers available to that role, so it's even more customizable. There are 4 tiers, being level 1 through 3, with the final tier being called Mastery, and is reserved for those that picked that role, as it's entirely possible to buy abilities from other roles, but at a much higher cost. So when you have the experience, you get to decide which way you would like to go, allowing for multi-classing. At the start though, you are held to 2 from tier 1 and 1 from tier 2 from your initial role. In addition to all of that, you also get to pick Malefica, this world's magic that aligns with the one that your PC is attuned to. There are tiers here, as well as going from 1 to 3, and much like roles, where there is a capstone limited to those of the initial role, there is a category called High Powers that only those of the initial affinity can gain access to. But just like roles, that does mean you can gain access to magic outside your initial one, albeit with a higher cost. After you've gotten the core bits handled, it's time to start snagging your gear, which will be based off of what your initial path is. These being called packages, which are simplified so that you can grab things matching options so that you can kit yourself off the bat, possibly even with a bat, to suit the exact playstyle you had in mind from the get-go. These options include the standard fantasy fare such as katanas, daggers, shields, and glaives, but also include things like shotguns, tasers, and nunchucks. There is also other bits of equipment like burner phones, grappling hooks, and the ever-handy video camera, but my favorite part about the equipment, specifically when it comes to armor and weapons, is that they all have their own unique keywords, giving them benefits and drawbacks, making your choices outside of how much damage they deal an actual factor when choosing. Do you go for the big high damage weapon with 2-handed tags, but forego options like shields? Or do you want the ability to incapacitate rather than kill with the non-lethal keyword? When it comes to guns, you also have to consider things like ammunition and reload times as well as capacity. All these small decisions reward you, the player, for considering your options, preparing for the missions ahead. There are also additional effects, be it from customizing the weapon and modifications, or when snagging ammunition, if you got the funds and you want to splash that cash. There are also different kinds of tag keywords such as bleeding or stunned, which really vamps up the combat and makes it so that you really have to consider all your options. I'm honestly skipping over so much, as there are still things for rules like magical rituals, an entire coterie of vehicles for the land, sea, and air, as well as magical artifacts, and one of my favorite additions being a set of carousing tables that you can use to shake up your downtime. These can be you having a good time, a bad time, or possibly even a fantastic time, and each table has different results based on how well it went. You can roll to see how these go off as well, but that's something you guys are going to want to check out for yourselves. All the art for this game as well has been made by the incomparable Helena Satana, who goes by Helena Core Online. She's a fantastic trans artist from Brazil who is solely responsible for this iconic art style. The game has been in development for about 5 years now and is in its 7th iteration and is very close to its final version, which brings me to the announcement that for anyone that has been digging the art and the concepts that I've been talking about, then you should really be ready, because it'll be going live on Kickstarter on April 1st, 2025, and that's no April Fool's prank. As of this video release, they said they had some stretch goals in mind, including a creative cocktail menu of drinks designed to mesh with the aesthetic of the game, as well as an NPC generator and a free adventure from a list of potential options such as Garden of Deadly Delights, All That Glitters, and the Vault of Many Horrors. Speaking with Fern, the lead of the game, they also mentioned that they were in the process of commissioning art for a fully illustrated tarot deck to go along with the game. But they said they didn't want to confirm that as a definite until they were fully prepared to release, but I can say from the little teaser I saw, I'm truly hoping that that becomes an option as well, because come on now, isn't this stunning? It's just, oh my god, it's gorgeous. If you're interested but still a little unsure, I can say that while I've read through and polished the rules, I've also been part of a play testing of it. And if you'd like to see the game's beta in action, then check out the playthrough of Disco Pandemonium as run by Gil Swamp Guy. That I'll have linked down below, along with the Kickstarter, Hex Studios Discord, their Blue Sky link, and all those fun relevant things. I truly think this game is a great fit for those that want something a little modern but devilishly fun. I'd love to run this game once it's out in its final version, so keep your eyes out for that possibly in the future. If you guys do end up kickstarting it, I'd love to hear it down in the comments below and let me know on the socials on Blue Sky. It really would mean a lot to me, and plus, it's good to see that these videos actually get out there and reach people. With all that said, I wanted to give an extra special thanks to Fern for reaching out to me to check it out all those months ago and for letting me help out with the project, even if it was minor contributions in the scheme of things. It was an absolute treat to read through the system and dig in and fix some rough edges around mechanics and suggest some clarifications and ideas of my own. I also want to divert to give a huge thank you to all of my subscribers, as we have finally broken the 500 subscriber mark. That's a huge thing for YouTubers and really helps me out, as it opened up the option for those watching to use super thanks and likes during my streams, as well as use that in the comments in the videos down below. Next stop is 1,000, though I'll not be mentioning that at the end of videos until we're a little bit closer. I've been learning my lesson that I shot the gun a little too fast on that one. With that, I will show off this fantastically adorable photo of Paratos, who is settling in and getting even more adventurous, though he hasn't quite got the handle of how sticks work yet. As well as discovering his love of Pup Cup if you've seen that short, which if you haven't seen it yet, there's a little thing called Paratos Shorts that you guys should check out. If you can, a like, a share, or especially a subscribe really helps as I work on getting more of these videos out, and each new subscriber brings a smile to my face. If you enjoy answering TTRPG prompts or questions, please join me on Blue Sky, where I post daily, which is in the description down below and linked on the main channel page. Who knows, your responses may be part of a future video. If you have any suggestions for future topics, I'm always interested in what folks would like to hear, and you can send them either by email or by joining me on the channel Discord, where you can chat with me and fellow cool people. We share a lot of Pokemon memes and a lot of other TTRPG stuff. Thanks again, y'all, and I hope these ideas were useful to you, and I hope you guys like this system, and it'll definitely help you tell better tales. Till then, bye!